Welcome to my moment. Once again, you rocking with your boy Stay Humble, and I want to thank you for tuning in. We've been talking about Jesus walking on the water, and the question has been, will you get out of the boat? So we're going to continue on where we left off. Peter had got out of the boat, and he began to walk on the water toward Jesus. So Matthew chapter 14, verse 29, Jesus said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. Verse 30, but when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." It says as he walked on the water, he saw the wind, and then this fear struck him. He became afraid, and we said that fear, false evidence appearing real. You've got this false evidence of the wind and the waves and the distance of the boat behind you. But the reality is you're walking on the water right now. And it says that when he saw the wind, he began to fear, and as the fear hit him, he began to sink, and he cries out, "Jesus, save me." And look at what happens. Verse 31, Jesus immediately reached out his hand and told him, and took hold of him, saying, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And I believe that when we try to launch out and do these exploits that we believe that God is calling us to do, these things that Jesus is laying on our heart, I believe when we get out on that water and fear hits us and we begin to sink and cry out, "Lord, save me," he asks us the same question. "Oh, you have little faith, why did you doubt?" So the question then becomes, why did Peter doubt? And why do we doubt? For that, I want to look at Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. So Isaiah 26:3 says that you, God, keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. So when we keep our minds stayed on God, he keeps us in perfect peace because we trust in him. We know who he is. And see, why did Peter doubt? Well, let's reread Matthew chapter 14, verse 28. And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come." He said, "Command me to come on the water. If it's you, command me to come." So why did he doubt? The reason that Peter began to doubt is the same reason we begin to doubt. See, remember, Peter said, "Jesus, if it's you, command me to come." And we said that he learned through relationship with Jesus that he could trust that if Jesus said it, it was going to happen. So you got to go back, look at an old episode to rehash all of that. But what we have here then is when we take our mind off of the giver of the command and the command that he has given us, we begin to fear and we begin to doubt and we begin to sink. Peter takes his mind off the one who gives him the command and what he's called to do, the command to come. And so often we do the same thing. We begin to look at the wind and trust in our experience, and that causes us to shrink back from what we're being called to do. See, Peter was already walking on the water, right? He was already walking toward Jesus on the water. But when he went back to that old way of thinking, when he went back to what his experience told him through his whole life, he elevated that above his relationship, his ability to trust in God, his ability to keep his mind stayed on him. And my friends, and what God is calling us to do, that's what we have to do. We can't get rattled by the wind. We can't get rattled by the waves. We can't get rattled by the storm front that's coming in or the rain that's pouring down on us. We have to keep our minds stayed on the giver of the command. in what it is that he commanded us to do. Because if he said it, remember now, Peter knew that if Jesus said it, I can do it. And if he said it to you, my friends, you can do it. So it's our responsibility. Why? Jesus says to Peter, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? And he asked the same question to us. Oh, you of little faith. Oh, Jerry, you of little faith. You got a whole month ahead of you. You don't know how you're going to make the ends meet. But what have I done since December? Oh, you of little faith, why do you doubt? So that's for me, y'all. And why do I doubt? Because I go back to what I've known for 35 years of how do I make it? So I want to encourage you, memorize Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, and keep your mind on him. And he'll keep you in perfect peace because you trust not in your own ability, not in how nice the weather is, but instead you trust in him. The question is, will you get out of the boat? Grace and peace. This is your moment.